he asked me to apply, and I did. And of course, faced their interview panel. And after the end of the interview, they reported back to him that I did better than the best of those who didn't pass the first interview. And so I was recommended to be employed as a tax clerk in Federal Inland Revenue Services. Thank you, viewers. I'd like to welcome you back to my stories. I stopped in the last episode where I finished my secondary school and came out with very good results. 4 of us making Division 2 in our West African School Certificate exams. And I also told you about celebrations that happened in the other 3 families and what happened in my own family, where there was a meeting and I was directed to go and search for work in order to assist my younger siblings who were still some in primary school then. And that is exactly what I did. And that search for work landed me in Lagos, in the house of my senior sister who was married to an immigration officer. By the support and assistance of my senior sister's husband, I got employed in factories. I know of 2 factories. One was the Vono bed factory somewhere in Apapa, and I was a factory hand watching and timing the stringing of the Vono bed floor on the machine and being accurate to know the time to remove it when it gets properly fixed for use before they will now hang it on their standing iron frames. So in my first week of work, I paid attention seriously and followed through. There were cautioning that one needed to be careful with the machine, because if you make a mistake and your hand gets nearer to the cutting and weaving machine for the iron bed floor, your hand may be part of what will be cut. And so I was conscious of that. But within that first week, it happened that one of the factory hands like me had 2 of his fingers damaged or cut by the same machine, or the same type of machine that we were operating on. That gave me a lot of concern, and I was so afraid that I got home to my sister's house and told her and the husband that I was not going to work there again. And of course, they quickly started making other arrangements, and it wasn't long. They got me work in another factory that was doing tom-tom in Apapa too. So in that factory, the work was easier. I wasn't around the machines. I was in the packaging long room where the cartons come out. You make sure that it's properly handled and filled by the machine, and then you seal off on that and do the stamping and count what number of cartons that has come. And I did that up to December, I believe December 1998, I want to believe. No, 1999. So No, it should be 1998 December. So I told my in-law and my sister that I was going back to the village for Christmas purposes. But I had in my mind not to return back to Lagos. I didn't know how I would not return to Lagos since I wasn't sure of any job down east. But something happened, which I know better must be the hand of God. I arrived my village the first day. The second evening, during the festive period, one of my senior cousins who was working in Inland Revenue of blessed memory, Chief Gabriel Obulu, Vida Gabriel Obulu, visited the auntie and then was entertained and all that. And all of a sudden, my mother's children were all around. He picked at me to say, my friend, what are you doing? Have you finished secondary school? I said, yes. I took the last WAEC and I did very, very well. And I'm now looking for work. He said, I've just conducted clerical interview in my Inland Revenue office. He was the Chief Inspector of Taxes in Federal Inland Revenue Services, Moscow Road. And that's how he asked me to check him in his office and let him know how far the interview that was conducted had gone. And then the day I checked him, the following Monday of that week, I think after Christmas and New Year, the first week of January of 1999, I got there, and is it 19? Did I say 1979 now? I got there, and then he called for the result of the interview. And then saw that out of the two they wanted, they have been able to get somebody during the first roll of interview. So he asked me to apply, and I did. And of course, faced their interview panel. And after the end of the interview, they reported back to him that I did better than the best of those who didn't pass the first interview. And so I was recommended to be employed as a tax clerk in Federal Inland Revenue Services. Again, I saw the hand of God. Now I will say I see, because then I didn't know what it meant for God to be interested in your affairs and order your steps, to take actions and steps that will bring you to accomplish the purpose for which He's ordering you. So it must be God that brought me back all the way from Lagos, even when my sister and in-law said no. And it must be God that allowed that one slot remain for me, and I got employed as a tax clerk. Well, after a while working there, one of my co-staff, a clerical staff, an older one in the organization, Inland Revenue Services, had mentioned that Nnpc in Moscow Road, Port Harcourt, they share common barbed wire fence with Nnpc Moscow Road. He mentioned that they will be doing interview, written interview, oral interview for clerical workers. And I think I have spent not more than 4 months when this happened in Inland Revenue. So I picked the information. Must have also forgotten, but that particular day of the interview, I saw multitude of clerks coming in, or school start holders coming into their compound, an Nnpc compound, for that interview. So I managed, through the back way we passed to go there for food and other things. They had a very good restaurant, so if you walk around them, you happen to get a ticket through a staff, you can always come to their restaurants and get a full meal. So through that same connecting barbed wire fence, I entered the compound, joined the interview section, a written one at first, And of course, when they marked, because it was an interview, simple question, they asked you to write, and then they marked there to make you good for the next level of interview, which is verbal. And of course, after writing, I happened to be amongst the group of people that had very high score. And of course, my name, which was not in their original list, remember, people applied before they were asked to come for interview. They found that my name was not in the original list, and they asked me what happened. And of course, as innocent as I was, I told them that I'm actually in Inland Revenue because we are neighbors. I heard about this interview, and I had no choice to make myself available. And that's how, at the end of the day, I was employed in an Nnpc after just 4 or so months in Inland Revenue as a tax clerk, with better pay, better opportunities, and better restaurant facilities. That was what I valued most in getting that employment there, that I could have a mouthful of lunch on a daily basis, because I had no pot in Port Harcourt. I was attaching in a cousin's room who doesn't cook, so I ate outside through. These are the things that made me think that that job came at the right time. And at the end of the day, I was posted to the transport department as transport clerk, and that's how my work in an Nnpc started. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I told you that Awanta's story will be very interesting, and you are following now. Poverty is real. Coming from a difficult, humble background is real. But you see, God specializes in taking nothings and making something out of them. Can you see a brilliant student becoming a factory hand in Vono, Nigeria Limited, and now to Tom Tom? But that urge to leave that work, where do you think it came from? His uncle visiting their village at the time he came, who was the head, or was an inspector with Inland Revenue. How do you think it was arranged for him to be in the village and for the uncle to visit at that time? There is an invisible finger. I've said this to you before. There is a finger directing the course of all our lives. But if you are not humble enough to accept Jesus into your life, you will miss the best. You will miss it. Please, this story will continue next week. Don't forget to subscribe to this our channel, so that whenever we post a new video, you are the first person to see it. Subscribe to it. Help us send these videos to your friends. God is alive. God is performing miracles. God is doing things. Be a part of spreading this gospel, and God will bless you.